Even give you a better one. I will compare them to Singapore.
Singapore, right?
Yes,
that's fine.
Yes, because Singapore is the first place that I got to that I thought like, is it possible that a place could be this clean? London is not a clean city. That's not.
London is not that clean?
It's not. No, it's not. It's not.
Ooh,
London is not like so.
Coffee Images right here again.
Welcome to Coffee Images, where we explore cities through pictures. This is our second podcast, and today we are in the city of Accra with a very special guest we are going to interact with. But before I let him introduce himself, this podcast is proudly sponsored by Deep Thinkers. You can also visit our website at esotericminds.com and express your deep thoughts. My name is Kukwa Vego, and I am your host for today. Hi, welcome, sir. Okay, please can you tell us your name?
My name is Godson Pratt.
Godson Pratt.
Yes.
Okay, so per my little research I've done about you, I know you are the CEO of Get Fit for Sure, and also a cousin to Kofi Bavnani, the CEO of Coffee Images, right?
Absolutely.
Okay, sure. Can you tell us about Get Fit for Sure?
Get Fit for Sure, it's a fitness brand.
Okay.
Mostly we are selling fitness clothing, but also making workout programs and stuff like that.
Okay.
But the Get Fit for Sure actually was started by myself.
Okay.
It wasn't supposed to be a business initially.
Okay.
It was just something that I was myself going through a certain phase in life that I didn't really know exactly what to do, and I was looking for different types of alternatives.
Okay.
So I had traveled a little bit like far, to Asia to kind of like rediscover myself in a way. So some of the things that I found that were helping me were physical activity, making changes to health and lifestyle choices and stuff like that. So after that, I was literally just doing things for myself to just put myself in a better place.
Okay.
And so out of that came a little, like a business idea. And so when I was looking for a name for the business, Get Fit for Sure was the ultimate, because it's like Get Fit for Sure. And then the question is, how do I know for sure? But I only know because I have been through it. So that's how I know like it works. So that's how Get Fit for Sure started.
Okay, that's very interesting. I know you are a traveler. So can you tell us how many cities you've been to?
To be honest, I've never counted, but I've been in a lot of cities.
Okay.
Yeah, because I've traveled around Europe, and I think it's almost about 27 cities, and I've been to a lot more. I've been a lot.
Can you mention few?
Well, so let's say I've been in China, in Beijing. I've been in Singapore.
Okay.
I've been in Cambodia. I've been in New York, Philadelphia, California. I've been to Miami, Bahamas. I've been to quite a few cities for sure.
Okay, right. So when it comes to, let's say, the environment, right?
Yeah.
How, like, what do you have to say about the cities you've been to? Like, comparing, let's compare. You've been to New York, right?
Yes.
So let's compare New York to Beijing. Is it Beijing?
Yeah, Beijing,
yeah,
China.
Right.
Yeah.
So when it comes to environment, what do you have to say about these two cities?
I think even though in pictures they look the same, but in reality they look a lot different. And then there's a lot of cultural aspect to the cities, right? So when you go to, even in New York, there's a place called Chinatown. So if you go to Chinatown in New York, obviously it looks like China, but it's not. So there's like a lot of different things. Then obviously if you visit like Beijing, depending on which part, because there's always like the parts where there's like tall buildings and fast trains and stuff, but you can also go to like little suburbs. Yeah, but New York is totally different. Like if you go to Bronx or Brooklyn, it's totally different from Chinatown.
Okay, so let's say when it comes to sanitation, right? Which of these cities has improved or has a better waste management solution or something? Yeah.
I wouldn't necessarily be able to say, because like New York I've been a couple of times, but Beijing I've been there just once. So I don't know how.
So let's say with the cities you've been to, compare New York to, let's say, London.
let me even give you a better one. I will
Okay.
compare them to Singapore.
Singapore, right?
Yes,
That's fine.
Yes, because Singapore is the first place that I got to that I thought like, is it possible that a place could be this clean? London is not a clean city. That's not.
London is not that clean.
It's not. No, it's not. It's not. It's not.
Ooh,
London
okay.
is not like so. Singapore was the first time that I saw a city so clean, and I thought like, how is it possible? But then again, because I live in Finland, I understand like sometimes some of the countries they put a lot of effort. Like in Finland, at different times of the year, they even wash the streets.
Oh,
You know, like they really wash them, so they put a lot of effort into cleaning the cities.
Okay.
But that's not the case for like a lot of big cities. You know, like London is obviously like a very big city, and New York. So there's like they do their best, but they cannot do like extra. You know.
Oh,
But
okay.
like Singapore, it was really the first place that I thought like, wow, this place is really clean. Yes.
Okay, so with Singapore, you just said that they clean the streets, right?
No, in Finland, Helsinki.
Finland.
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
and I know that they clean this because I live there, so I see.
So is there a day, like a specific day they do that, or is something they do, let's say, every month or
no,
every
no,
week,
no.
every day?
It depends on the time of the year. So like let's say
Okay.
in the summertime,
Okay.
when we have winter, so they put a lot of pebbles on the street because of the snow.
Okay.
And then obviously every time it snows, like we have a snowstorm, they have to clear the snow. So they use like tractors and stuff to clear the snow. But when we have summer, so now we don't need the pebbles on the street anymore because it's not slippery. So then they have to come and first of all, clear the pebbles.
Okay.
And then after that, there's still like dust or sun, and then they wash it with water. So it's like it's not possible to do it like every month, but at the right time they will do it. They will
Honestly,
finish it.
I do not know what the pebble is. Like, what is
Pebbles is like I think in Ghana we call them like gravels,
it? Gravels. Oh,
like the little
okay.
stones that they put on the
Oh,
street.
okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay.
Sorry, I probably used the wrong word, but I think
Yeah.
like but you know what I
So,
mean.
from you said Singapore is very neat, right?
That was obviously the first place that I saw a city, and I thought like this is really.
So
neat
you
city.
think Singapore is more beautiful? Would you say that Singapore is more beautiful than Finland? Or let me just put it this way:
Yeah.
what's the most beautiful city you have been to?
That's a very good question.
Yeah.
Because when you ask like what is the most beautiful city that
Yeah.
I've been in, it will obviously be in Cambodia.
Okay.
Siem Reap.
What?
Siem Reap.
Siem Reap.
Reap. Yeah, that's
Okay.
the name of the city.
Okay.
But it's in Cambodia.
Okay.
But it's nothing compared to Singapore
Okay.
or Beijing. But Siem Reap, the reason why I thought it was a very beautiful city is because of it's like a very Buddhist city or Buddhist
okay.
country. Let's say Cambodia is like a Buddhist country. So when you understand a little bit about Buddhist philosophy and then you love like their architecture and stuff,
Okay.
like if you visit the temples and stuff, like those were so beautiful and so magnificent,
Okay.
and like there's something that they do, it's called watching the sunrise. So,
Watching the sunrise.
Yes,
Okay.
yes. So it's like when you go to some of the temples, you go there like between 4 a.m. and sometimes 5:30. The sun rises from behind the temple, and like that's one of the most beautiful scenes that I have ever seen.
Okay.
So for me, like if somebody asks me what is the most beautiful city I've been to, that is the first city that comes in my mind.
Okay.
But it's obviously not that clean if we are talking about Singapore, for example.
Okay.
But,
So in this what's the name of the city again?
Siem Reap.
Siem Reap.
Yeah. I don't know if I'm pronouncing it like correctly, but that's how they pronounce it. Like
Oh, okay.
Reap,
Siem
yeah.
Reap. Okay.
Cambodia.
So you mean to say that with the beautiful, like the sunrise, something you were talking about?
Yeah.
Like, is that what made it stand out to you? Because you've been to a lot of cities,
Yes.
and then you are actually choosing Siem Reap
Yes.
as your best or the most beautiful city you have
That
visited.
I have visited, because of, again, like I said, because of the architecture,
Okay.
Because when you look at how long ago that they built those temples, they are like really, really old temples. And then you like, if you love architecture, you take a look at a building and then you think like, how were they? Because they didn't have so much, technology and stuff like that, like we have now.
Okay.
So you think like, how were they able to build these things in these different shapes and sizes?
Yeah.
And then, nowadays they build a lot of things that are very light, not so heavy, but
Okay.
those things were really heavy. And then you think, how were they able to carry them all the way up? So in terms of the architecture, the old buildings, the building, how do you say, how they have built like the statues of Buddha and stuff like that. When you look at it, you see like this is beautiful architecture.
It must be a very beautiful city.
You should visit there.
Oh yeah, I will. Yeah. Okay, let's say I may go there.
You have to.
Yeah.
Like now you have to. So tell Kofi Images you have to see Siem
I'll
Reap.
tell him. I'll tell you. So Kofi, you are hearing this, so okay. So let's go to the food bits.
Yes.
What's your favorite food?
My favorite food, now because we are in Accra, Ghana, I would say my favorite food is like assorted jollof rice.
Assorted jollof rice.
Right.
Okay,
right.
so what are the popular foods in the cities you visited? You can give us like 5 of the cities and the popular foods there.
I think a lot of the foods are pretty similar.
Okay.
They just probably cook them in different ways.
Different ways, okay.
If you think about rice in sorry, like all over the world, pretty much people eat rice and chicken.
Right.
So the food, I don't think they are so different. Like in China, I didn't like a lot of the sauce because mostly it's like sweet. Like you could have sauce on rice that is sweet, and I don't like too much sweet stuff. So it depends. But I think a lot of the food, it's rice and chicken mostly.
Rice and chicken.
Mostly.
So they do not have any special food. Like when you come to Ghana, let's say the city of Accra, we have kenke and fish as a very popular food.
Yes.
So there's no like popular food in these cities you visited. Like
no, they may have, but I don't eat so much different things. Mostly I'm eating rice and chicken.
Oh, okay.
So let's say if I'm in Accra, Ghana, and I'm eating rice and chicken, maybe it's been made into fried rice or jollof rice or a lot of, because like even when I'm in Ghana, I don't eat like fufu or banku and stuff like that. So even if you have those, like because I'm not eating them, I couldn't say like So mostly I'm eating just rice and chicken. So wherever I go, I look for different
rice and chicken.
Yeah, but then they might cook it a little bit differently.
Okay.
So that's the
So I spoke to one friend in Finland, and she was like, unless she goes to the African market,
yes,
she cannot get any food. Like she cannot prepare any Ghanaian food. So it means that apart from you going to the African market to prepare your own food, you cannot get any Ghanaian food out there.
It depends on obviously where you live.
Okay.
Because if you live in Helsinki, like that's the capital city.
Where?
Helsinki.
Helsinki.
Yes.
Okay.
So
that's the capital of Finland.
Yes.
Okay.
So if you live in Helsinki, because there's a lot of Afro populations, it is possible that they might have some shops that actually sell like a lot of African things.
Okay.
But like one of the cities that I lived in when I first went to Finland, it's like Imatra. There's really few like Africans there.
Is in Finland?
Yeah, it's
Imatra.
in Finland. Imatra, yeah.
Okay.
So when you visit places where there is not many Africans, obviously there's no provision for stuff like that.
Have you been in any situation like that where you went there?
A lot of times. I think that is why I have also just got used to not eating so much African food, because mostly I've lived in Finland. Mostly there hasn't been a lot of like African populations, so you don't have access to like any. But
then you still get your rice and your chicken.
The rice and chicken is a universal language, that's for sure.
Okay, so let's get to the tourist sites in these cities you have visited.
Yeah.
So let's use Siem Reap.
Siem Reap.
Siem Reap. Yeah. So is there any tourist site there?
Oh, a lot. Like I think the whole city in itself is like a tourist. Like there's a lot of tourists in Siem Reap.
Okay.
That's for sure. A lot of Europeans, a lot of like, I think most people who travel to Asia, they do visit because usually when you do like an Asian trip, so obviously you want to visit Thailand and then Vietnam and then Cambodia, and in most cases also like Singapore, Malaysia.
Okay.
But then it also depends on what you want to do, right?
So like, can you tell us, maybe in Cambodia, there's this tourist site, in New York there's this tourist site, in Siem Reap there's this tourist site.
So Siem Reap, I would say mostly I went to Siem Reap because of Buddhist philosophy.
Okay.
So if you love philosophy, or if you love like you want to know anything about Buddhism, Then I would say like Cambodia is one of the places where you can go.
Okay.
And then in Siem Reap, that is where they have some of the biggest temples, and some of the oldest ones. So I've forgotten the name of this movie. Angelina Jolie did a movie called Tomb Raider.
Oh, okay.
So Tomb Raider, that movie was shot in Siem Reap.
No, I've not watched it.
Okay, so you can watch Tomb Raider and then you can see what I mean. Like, I don't think they portray it exactly as it is, but some of those temples, they were obviously in Cambodia. So in Cambodia, I was more interested in about the people, the monks, you know, the Buddhists, how they live, how they eat, you know, what is their way of life and stuff like that. And for me, the greatest part of my life, especially how I live now, has been influenced completely by that. In New York, for example, in New York City, I've seen first like the natural museums, you know, where you can see like dinosaurs and stuff like that.
Oh,
so
wow.
So in New York, I've seen that type of. I haven't been to New York for a while now because I prefer going more to like California and Miami. They are warm, obviously.
Sure.
So, but if I will go back to New York now, then I will visit this new museum that they built for Jay-Z.
What's the name?
I don't remember the name, but it's like it's built of Jay-Z, about his life and his music career.
And it's in New York?
In New York, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Not necessarily in New York, in Brooklyn, but you know, Brooklyn and New York is still something.
Oh, okay. So, all right. So let's get to transportation.
Yeah.
Let's say you get to Siem Reap.
Yes.
And you do not have your personal car.
Yeah.
It looks like I really love that place already.
Yeah.
You do not have your personal car.
Yeah.
How is the transportation like?
Actually, if you go to Siem Reap, you don't even want to use a personal car.
Oh, wow.
Because what they use there is they use more motorbikes.
Oh.
And then they use something called tuk-tuk.
Tuk-tuk? What's that?
Yeah, so tuk-tuk is like this. I think I've seen some of them in Ghana now.
Keke?
Keke, I think, yeah. So in Ghana, you call them keke.
Oh, okay.
In Cambodia, they call them tuk-tuk.
Oh, okay.
But obviously, the ones in Cambodia, they are more a little bit like fancy, you know, like nicely built. And,
so tuk-tuk, what's the name of the city again?
Siem Reap.
Siem Reap.
Yeah.
So it's just like the city of Tamale here in Ghana, because it's more of motorbikes and the keke.
It's possible. I've never been to Tamale. So
you've never been to Tamale? No. Oh, okay.
No, but obviously, like tuk-tuk, motorbikes, like that's what you want to use.
Okay.
I think like there's also like you can easily get into traffic and stuff like that. So if you use a motorbike, then even in Ghana when there's traffic, with a bike you can always get around, you know. So if you're in Cambodia, for sure you want to try the tuk-tuks.
Okay, so how about the city in Finland?
In Finland, depending on where you live, we have undergrounds. We have
underground trains.
Yeah, underground trains. So those, like you have to go deep into the ground. You get on the train and then they just go underground. So we have those, but it depends. It's not in all cities, but in Helsinki there is. So you can go underground or you can go overground. And then overground we have like trams. So trams are like smaller trains. Yeah, but they are like smaller trains, and then they move on the same streets as the cars, but they are like trains moving on the same lanes. So we have trams, and then we have like city buses. Yeah, in the summer times, if you live in certain cities, in the summer times have city bicycles. So the city try to encourage you to kind of like exercise. Finland is a very active country, so to speak. So a lot of people use bicycles in the summer times. So the city kind of tried to make it possible for everybody to have access to a bicycle. So summer periods can be like between 6 months and 7 months. So all you have to do is pay like 35 euros to have a membership. And then you can ride, you know, any bike. Like,
would you own it, or it's just for?
No, it's for the city. But if you pay 35 euros for the whole period, that's like 6 to 7 months. Then it gives you access to be able to use those bikes. But like I have my own bicycle, so you know, like this is something also that culturally, when I go to Finland first, I was thinking like, no, I want to drive a car because it's, you know, like it don't look cool to ride a bicycle. Because I'm from Ghana, right? Ghana, if you tell somebody that I have a bicycle, they look at you a little bit like, okay, where is your car? You know? But in Finland, in the summertime, it's like a cultural thing. Like everybody cycles, even if you have like nice car, whatever.
Okay.
In the summertime, we want to cycle.
Okay, so how many cities have you been to in Ghana?
In Ghana, that's very tricky because in Ghana, I really have not traveled that much.
Oh, okay.
Because my mother is from Volta region.
Okay.
And my father is from Central region.
Okay.
So those cities naturally
You've
I've
been
been,
there.
biologically. And then most part I lived in Accra.
Okay.
And then Tema, obviously, I visited because Tema and Accra, they're close. But aside of visiting my family cities,
Okay.
which is Volta region, Central region, I haven't really been. I never been to Kumasi. I never been.
So you've just been to 3 cities here in Ghana. So
Pretty much,
Accra, Volta region. I don't know which city you went.
Yeah.
Ho,
No,
is it Ho?
so Ho, I've been.
Okay.
So I mean, like Volta region, I've been to a few cities.
Okay.
And then Central region, I've been to a few different cities.
Okay.
But still, if we are saying Central region as a whole, or Greater Accra region as a whole,
Okay.
or Volta region as a whole, then these are okay. I've been to Koforidua.
You've been to Koforidua.
Yeah. So I've been to like some part of Eastern region as well.
Okay.
But I've never been to Kumasi or Northern region or.
Okay.
I haven't gone that far.
Okay. So let's compare the lifestyle of these cities here in Ghana.
Yeah.
So let's say let's compare the people in the Volta region
Yeah.
and the people in the Central region.
Yeah.
So how is the lifestyle of the people in these 2 cities?
Let me give you even a better example. Right?
Okay.
So when I lived with my mom, I lived in a village.
Okay.
So when you live in a village, pretty much you eat what you grow.
Yeah.
And even if you eat meat, then you have to hunt it.
Mm-hmm.
So when I was in the village, I always thought like someday I want to be rich so I can afford to eat like rice and chicken and drink cokes and eat burgers and stuff like that. 'Cause obviously, I didn't understand at the time that eating what you grow or eating what you catch or eating the fish that you fish yourself is way more healthier lifestyle.
Yeah.
But when I moved to Finland, I realized that all the things that I used to eat for free in the village, they were the most expensive. And I did not understand because like when you live in a village, avocado or pear, mango, coconut, stuff like this, literally you eat them for free because you have them in the, and in Finland, if I buy a coconut, it's like 5 euros.
Yeah.
If I buy avocado, it's like 5 euros. So it's like to be able to eat the same things that I used to eat in the village
for free.
You have to be really rich, And then because they are so expensive, they call them organic.
Okay.
And then I think, okay, what is organic?
Yeah.
And then when I ask, they try to explain to me like organic is growing them with the best natural things. Then I realized that okay, even as organic as it is nothing compared to what we used to have in the village.
Okay.
So I always say to my friends, especially in Finland, that I wish all the people who are living in villages in Ghana now, who think that they are poor and that their life is so bad, I wish that they knew the difference between what they are eating now and the lifestyle they live compared to somewhere like Helsinki or Finland. I don't know, if that answers your question.
It does, but not entirely. So I want to know the people in these 2 cities I've mentioned. Okay, are they friendly? Are they welcoming? Right.
So you mean like the people in Volta region?
The city, like you've been to Ho, right?
Yes.
So let's say the lifestyle of the people in Ho and the lifestyle of the people in the city of Cape Coast. You've been to Cape Coast, right?
Yeah. Actually, I went to Adisado College.
Oh, okay, Santa.
With coffee,
Okay.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, there's a disco in the red. So if you don't go to a disco, you
okay.
go to one.
I actually went to Ghana National.
Okay, so, I had a girlfriend there.
Oh, you guys like us so much.
For sure. But so anyway, I think like for me, luckily, in all the cities that I've been, I've always spoken the language. And every part of the world that you go, when you speak the language, people are always like kind of nice to you because obviously they think you are one of them.
Okay.
But I think like Cape Coast people are really, really friendly because even when I went to a disco, when I didn't really know the city, every time you go into the city, people are nice to you. They ask like, where are you from and stuff like that. And obviously when you speak the language, then they know that, okay, you're one of us, So, and I speak Ewe as well. So even when I go to Ho, I can immediately talk to the people. Even nowadays, sometimes, I don't know how they figure it out, but sometimes they start laughing and say, oh, even you can speak Ewe. I'm like, yeah, but I'm from here originally. So I think generally in Ghana, we are really nice people.
Yeah,
so it doesn't no matter where you go. I think like Ghanaians, especially when you travel around the world, then you really see how nice Ghanaians are.
Okay.
Yeah, because like internationally they make a lot of comparison, especially between Ghana and Nigeria, in terms of how we treat people, how we behave and stuff. So when you're from Ghana, you always get that you get that feedback that Ghanaian people are really nice, friendly, trustworthy. So I think generally Ghanaians are nice people.
How about the people in the city of Beijing? What would you say about them?
I think like in Beijing, it wasn't that easy to talk to somebody you didn't know. Like it wasn't that easy. Like they are really nice people, so to speak. But in most cases, like if I go to a restaurant, then you talk to them. But I didn't really speak to a lot of people that I didn't know. Like mostly I had my friends with me, or if I go to a restaurant, then obviously the waiters and everybody is nice to you because that's like customer service. But I think Chinese people also generally, they are really nice people.
Okay, so would you recommend these cities you've been to for leisure and work?
Leisure and work?
Yeah.
Work, I don't know, because obviously people do different jobs. So I wouldn't necessarily...
Maybe for business,
I think for me, traveling, like if you have the opportunity, you should travel. Because like when you travel, you see different things, you meet different people, you learn about different cultures. And then, every time you meet new people, you have new conversation. I think it helps you to grow. And then it also helps you to understand humanity, and the more we understand each other, the easier it is for us to live with each other. So I think like traveling for sure is like, if you can, you should. And if your question is, will I recommend any of the cities that I have been to people? Obviously, yes. Yes. Like almost all the cities.
Yeah, right. So in a nutshell, what's the most important lesson or insight you've gained from the travels to these cities you've been to?
Well, obviously because I've traveled quite a bit, I've had a lot of, but I don't know, maybe this will sound a little bit controversial, but whatever, you ask a question, I'll give you an honest answer, right? So, like I said, I've been to Cambodia to learn a little bit about Buddhist people and stuff like that. When I was a kid, everything that I heard about Buddhists is like, evildoers and those type of things. And this is something that I always believed. And luckily, I happened to have visited Cambodia to have seen like, even when I got there, I didn't really know what the whole place was about. But when I started to get to know the people and learning about Buddhism and understanding their way of life, how they see everybody else, I thought that, wait a minute, if even the Christians who used to tell me that Buddhists are evildoers, if they would know a little bit about how the Buddhist people live, they themselves would even be better Christians. So for me, being a Christian all my life and always thinking like Buddhists or Hindus are like evil people or whatever, I thought, I was lucky to have been able to see it and understand, the whole time it's like I was being brainwashed, So I understood that, now I remember even like, because in Finland, sometimes I speak in a church, right? So I remember like when I traveled to Cambodia, like there was a lot of different Christian opinions, like, what is this guy doing? Is he lost? That type of thing. And then I remember like when I came back, I did a few speeches in different churches. And then they started to ask me to, go to this church, go speak, go to this church, And then what I was speaking, they were like, oh my God, And then I was saying in my head that, no, all the things I'm telling you, this is something that I learned from the Buddhist people. So if you thought that, now I was lost, but I'm found, then hopefully someday you should visit them. So you get it. So for me, like that was one of the revelations that, traveling gave me, the understanding. And it's not something that I try to kind of like just throw it out there that, people lie to you or whatever, but sometimes people will tell you about things that they have no idea, because they have also been told the same thing. So sometimes when you travel, like you see different things. I remember like the first time I went to Russia, So a lot of people, I've heard a lot of things like when you go to Russia, it's like this, it's like that. So I remember the first time I went to Russia and I was in a hotel. And when I was going out, I didn't even take my wallet because I thought, if I take my wallet, somebody's going to rob me or something.
Yeah.
So I left my phone, my wallet, everything expensive that I had, I dropped it, right?
Okay.
And then I went out to the club.
Mm.
And the whole time when I was in the club, I didn't have to pay for one drink. Like everybody just looks at me, they was like, oh, 50 cents, come, take this.
So they paid for you?
Like everything. So then I was thinking like, wait a minute, like these people, they were so nice.
Okay.
They were so nice, so kind to me. So it's like everything that I had that I thought like, okay, these are the people, was obviously wrong.
Okay.
It doesn't necessarily mean that it is not true, but sometimes people get different experiences,
Okay.
So I realized that, okay, sometimes a lot of things that people tell me that this is how it is, until I experience it myself, I wouldn't take it as, as a fact. And luckily I have been, lucky to be able to be in different type of places that I've been able to discover some of the things that, okay, I think even Buddhist people, they are sometimes more better Christians than Christians.
Okay, in Cambodia, Siem Reap,
Yeah.
are there Christians there?
Yeah. There is some Christian, but the biggest population is
Buddhist.
because it's a Buddhist country.
Okay.
It's the same like in Ghana. Like Ghana is pretty much like a Christian country, but there is a portion, a very great portion that's like Islamic, and then there's like other African traditional religion and stuff.
Okay.
So yeah, in Cambodia there is a lot of Christians as well, but I think most of the population is like Buddhist.
Okay, so you mean to say that all like the perception we had about Buddhists is actually false?
From what I saw there, and then what I read, and how they perceive everybody else, it was totally wrong. That's for sure.
Okay.
My name is Godson. You can see, like that's how Christian I was.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and I'm still Christian, obviously.
Yeah,
I
sure.
speak, I speak in church and stuff like that. But what I said, like, it was very eye-opening for me. That, and I don't even blame the people who told me that, because how would they know? They haven't met any Buddhist person.
Yeah.
They don't even know what the Buddhist people read. They never read anything that So somebody told them, then they told me, and then but when I was there, I realized that, okay, hold on, wait a minute, like, okay,
They're actually nice people.
Nice people, they love everybody.
They are positive, everything.
More positive, more kind,
more positive than
more
who?
compassionate.
Than who?
I wouldn't make it was, for me, it was like a more personal experience, because I was even like the first time I got hands on a Buddhist book, I was praying like to God that please, because that's what I had. Yeah. So, but then when I started reading the book, I'm like, what, and then just kept on reading and reading. And I'm like, okay, got it. So traveling for sure. Like if you have the opportunity to travel, you should.
You have to travel and see.
For sure, that's a fact.
Okay. Thank you so much for coming.
No, it's my pleasure to.
We've had a lot of information about these cities, especially the Buddhists, actually, because most of us, let me put it this way, most of us had this perception about them that they are evil and everything, but we've actually cleared our. Yes. At
least even if I haven't cleared it, I've kind of like popped a light bulb in your head.
Sure.
And then you can do your research if possible, and then
travel and see.
You travel and then you see, and then you're like, okay.
Okay. Thank you so much for joining us today. You've informed us, you've educated us, you have entertained us as well. And I'll say thank you for coming. Yes.
And thanks for having me. It's been really nice to have this conversation.
Yeah.
And I appreciate you having me on.
Right.
Obviously.
Sure. So this brings us to the end of today's podcast. I hope you learned something. I actually learned a lot. We might be in your city next. Kindly visit our website at coffeeimages.com or download the Coffee Images app on Apple Play Store or Google Play Store. It's a bye for now.